So growing up in the community was just violence. It was just extreme violence, and as a small child, you see it daily. You just think it's part of life. You don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
So, at an early age, I knew I was going to be a police officer. Bonjour, my name is Jerry Moskotaywenene. I am from KI. This is where I live. This is my home.
I don't even know how many years ago this was, like 3-4 years ago I say, that you had called me. We spoke on the phone for about half hour. And as soon as I put down my phone, I kind of looked around and, is he saying goodbye to me? Should I call 911? I thought, because I was worried about, that it was a goodbye. I think I got a hold of Alvin the next day. And then that's when he told me that you ended up in hospital. In my head, I was like, should I go see him? What if he's mad at me for calling 911? And I think we didn't talk for about a year, maybe 2 years, eh?
Yeah, it was a little over a year. Going back a little bit before that night, I was in a treatment program.
Yeah.
And we did some mental health counseling, but they didn't dig into a lot of the things that I was dealing with. So what they did basically was just, pull the grade back and open some demons,
Yeah.
and then they sent me home. And I asked, I said, I need some more, I need to deal with these things. I had been spiraling way before that, and I have this black book. I basically said goodbye to everybody in there. I made up my mind a few days before that's what I was going to do. I went to a spot in Thunder Bay, and I sat in my vehicle, and I just started drinking hard. And so when I called you, I didn't want to say, hey, Saul, I'm going to do this,
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to, the spot that you're in now,
Yeah.
that's when I said to you, I said, you can make some changes
Yeah.
with how first responders and police officers, just to get better mental health access.
Yeah.
And so I didn't come out and say, listen, I'm going to end it all tonight, Saul, but,
Yeah.
I talked about the pride I had in my job. I couldn't do it anymore. After a while, I backed into the snowbank, sat there, waited.
Mm-hmm.
Not what I was waiting for when the police showed up, but
Yeah.
I'm very happy that they did, because I'm here today.
How long were you in a hospital?
I was there for 14 days.
I knew you were there, but I was afraid that you'd be mad at me
Yeah,
for calling 911, and that's the reason why I never came to see you.
yeah. Well, now I wasn't mad at you. I was happy you did. I'm here. I don't think if that phone call wasn't made, I don't think I'd be here today. So, thank you.
You're welcome. In my language, Anshinimun, there's a name that's very descriptive of what a policeman is. We call a police officer Kiiwetinoong. That means a person who takes somebody away. This description comes from the Indian residential school days, because the RCMP used to take away our children to Indian residential schools. Meeting and talking to First Nations across the north, I have heard that we can do so much more to help them. Officers and other frontline responders in the north who work alone and with far fewer resources than the responders in urban areas. It is well documented that social services like mental health services are extremely limited in the north. For example, in 2019, the National Collaborating Center for Indigenous Health explained that having reasonable and equitable access to universal health services leads to improved physical, mental, emotional, and social outcomes. The center highlights that First Nations experience barriers to healthcare, resulting in significant and ongoing health disparities compared to other Canadians. Often police officers like Jerry are the first ones who see accidents and tragedies when they happen. When you see traumatic events over and over, how do you process what you have seen?
all you see is darkness, hopelessness.
Yeah.
You don't see the good in your life, like your family,
Yeah.
your friends that actually care for you. You don't see that. The mental health aspect of it, when I came on the job 31 years ago, wasn't there. You're basically taught to shut that emotional button off. Today I'm working on getting that emotional button back,
Yeah.
turned back on. Nature has a way of healing you.
Yeah.
Healing whatever's going on in your head that day. I go out quite a bit, and because, like I said, those demons, they lay in wait, and they come out once in a while, and so when they do come out, that's the best therapy I've found, is being out on the land, and whether it's talking to a tree. Tree don't talk back. Tree don't give you advice.
The Canadian Mental Health Association defines vicarious trauma as transformative change. This change occurs when an individual is directly involved in supporting, caring, and identifying with the painful experiences of others, and can be more impactful when professional resources are limited. For First Nations, it is further compounded by the existence of intergenerational trauma. This means that First Nations frontline workers experience unique forms of harm that other Canadians working in similar fields do not. Because of this, officers and other first responders in the North, such as paramedics, firefighters, and nurses, need improved mental health support. They are experiencing multiple barriers and forms of trauma serving their communities. We need to start hearing more stories like these of what frontline responders actually do to protect us and to keep our communities safe. We need to ensure that frontline responders are getting the support they need, as anyone who works in the helping profession is at risk of vicarious trauma. What has carried Jerry through is knowing of who he is as a person, as an Anishinaabe, and being able to be on the land to heal. Therefore, not only do frontline workers need access to adequate mental health services for healing, as Jerry has shown us, but the resources, they are being provided based on need. For example, Jerry prioritized the need of First Nation concepts and the ways of life of Anishinaabe.
It's important that people ask for help, right? And that's very important, but more important that that help is offered when we ask for it. It's been a struggle, but I want to be better. I have a lot of things to look forward to and to live for. Yeah, I enjoy life now. Boy, do I ever.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
To the first responders everywhere, please reach out and ask for help, because there is hope.